Hi guys, welcome to a new YouTube video. As some of you may know, once in a while there is a meeting between content creators and the developers of Farlight84. Last meeting was held in December, and if you missed out on this, please go check out Zach Waller's channel. The link to the video will be down below. I have to say, this meeting was very long, so I tried to put it into a compact video, and what I want to do with this is to open up the discussion in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think of the different talking points. I also want to emphasize that you don't have to agree with what's being said and discussed in this video, but please be respectful towards each other and also the developers, guys. Please. Thank you and enjoy this video.
And also your thoughts. Some of you have already discussed or talked about your thoughts on the recent video that we released yesterday, where we talked about the new problems that arise after the recent update and the solutions that we are looking at to develop as soon as possible and integrate into the game in the subsequent updates. And it is absolutely right that some of the comments I read was about removing the jetpack instantly brings 6 problems, and I think it's actually correct because the jetpack has been an integral part of the core gameplay mechanic of Farlight84 from the beginning. So I figured today I wanted to cover the history of the jetpack during the development of Farlight84 to first of all give everyone kind of like an exclusive context as to how the jetpack, how it all started with the jetpack, and then why right now we have to start making changes to this core element of the game. So let's start with the history of the jetpack. So many years ago, when we started the project of Farlight84, it was actually a PvE game in the first place. It was actually a sandbox single player title that we started with Farlight84. So it was not planned to be a PvP battle royale title at the beginning. And so in a single player PvE title, like some of the games, I'm not sure if you have played some of the single player shooter titles like Borderlands and Destiny and things like that. There are a lot of single player or half single player, half multiplayer shooter games. And in a single player experience, the main character can have very unique abilities, and there's not really a boundary where you can make the character do within the game, because there's not someone else in the game that is competing against you apart from the monsters that are designed as levels in a single player game. So when we were working on Farlight84 many years ago, the jetpack became a very intriguing concept to be integrated into the experience. And it was really impressive. But when we moved on to become a PvP title and a battle royale title, which was different from the very beginning concept of the game, we retained design of the jetpack because it was kind of like what we started to build at the very beginning. It's a whole different conversation when it comes to PvE and PvP. It's kind of like a very intriguing conversation, especially with Overwatch in recent years, when it comes to getting a PvP experience and a PvE experience. But at the end of the day, the PvP experience that we are building right now with Farlight84 is the core experience, and the battle royale genre is what Farlight84 kind of gradually formed into shape. So that's kind of like context of the jetpack. Now, there are several advantages and disadvantages when it comes to jetpack as a core gameplay design as we moved from a single player experience to a PvP battle royale experience. So when we talk about a battle royale live service, live operations game, we have to continue to update the game for the better over a long period of time. Of course, we wanted the game to be in service. Well, Apex Legends they just announced their 5th anniversary. We do want our game to be able to run for years to come. Let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages of the Jetpack as a core gameplay design. We'll cover it from both a developer's perspective and a player's perspective. I think sometimes there could be conflicts between as a player what we want, and as a developer what we have to do. So let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages. The first one, the advantage, it's very obvious that allowing everyone in the game to perform high impact, impressive moves, it creates a lot of imaginable possibilities to reach. For example, you just reach the rooftops in one go. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to spend any effort in moving towards a rooftop and execute. When you look at Icy's video, for example, the shooting, the combat dynamics that he was playing with in his videos is just crazy, right? You can imagine a lot of possibilities what you can do with the moves. You can have a very unique moving style. You can develop your own play style around the jetpack in general. And the design is where Farlight84 started to gain traction and praise from players when we launched, globally launched last year. It was in beta for before last year, but when the game globally launched last year, it was what a lot of players got the attention of a lot of players. And then this advantage is just very obvious, right? It's very unique. It's very interesting. It can be imaginative. But let's talk about the disadvantages as well. We are going to cover the disadvantage from 2 different perspectives. The first one is the countering with a jetpack as a core gameplay design, which means a universal movement ability. Everyone has it. Every hero has it. Every player in the game has it. The countering system is flawed. What does it mean? So when trying to design heroes, we need to we need to create a system where different heroes or different players, they can counter against each other. It's a back and forth dynamic that a game has to have in order for all of the games for each match to be dynamic and interesting and diverse over time. So what we observed when it comes to this is that the jetpack became a universal solution to all situations that you get, all negative situations that you encounter, including a weapon that shoots at you suddenly, or a skill that is applied to you suddenly. All of a sudden, you just need to use a jetpack, jump around, and you get out of the situation instantly in no time. And that makes the countermeasure as a core gameplay design flawed in a way that a lot of the skills are just not useful, and a lot of the weapons they have to be. We mentioned in a special announcement in the past, the weapons, they all have to be balanced to a point where they all look very similar and they all play very similarly, because all of the weapons will have to be balanced according to the movements of the jetpack. So this means that whether it be gunplay, whether it be hero skills, the diversity of the design is very limited. We're going to cover that in the next session and talk a little bit more about it. The second problem or disadvantage of the jetpack as a core gameplay mechanic is that extreme speed excludes general players who like different playstyles. So if you are familiar with games like Overwatch, they have a very clear class of heroes called flanks. And flanks are heroes that have very extreme speeds. They move very fast, they move quickly, and they can approach enemies in a very short period of time. And this type of heroes, they are usually very high skill cap heroes. That means these heroes or these skills or abilities, they require a lot of training when using them or to master them. So the extreme speed involved in jetpacks, that's kind of like the other side of the coin when we talk about, oh, we can perform some high impact, impressive moves or imaginative moves with the jetpack. But on the other hand, not all players well, in the world where we see like millions of players who play shooter games or mobile games or PC games, they all like different play styles. And the jetpack kind of forced everyone into a play style that is very flanky. And it's just not the thing that all players would love. So this kind of limited the player base for newcomers who just entered the game. They could easily feel lost when they just don't like the speed and high mobility intense combat. So some of them may prefer strategy, some of them may prefer coordinating with teammates. So these are different play styles that are kind of forced out of place when it comes to the design of jetpack as a core gameplay mechanic. So that's these are the advantages and disadvantages when we think about jetpack as the core gameplay design of Farlight84 in the first place. Next, I think we want to cover what's going to change after the update and after the changes of the jetpack design. I think from the developer's perspective, we do wish that the lowering, or not making the jetpack a universal movement ability could allow us to design unique abilities. And from the player's perspective, we want the counterplay system to be in place so that each match is more interesting and more it's just more dynamic in each match and for a long period of time. And so we are going to talk about the new design from 3 different perspectives, with a jetpack not being a universal ability anymore. So the first one is to offer a diversity in playstyle. So as I mentioned, the jetpack is in other games. If you can name all of the other games, the jetpack is mostly a flank playstyle in other genres or games. So without jetpack being a universal ability, meaning only some of the heroes have jetpack or only some of the heroes have extremely high mobility, we will be able to open up the design for more different play styles. For example, in the new update, you can see the Watchman and Bow. They have very completely different and interesting play style now. So, for example, Watchman is now a very thoughtful play style. You will have to plan your move very intensely throughout the match. You have to think about what to do with the tactical abilities and the ultimate abilities, the timing of these abilities very well, and coordinate with your teammates. So Watchman has a very unique playstyle right now, thoughtful playstyle. And Bo, he actually became a little bit OP with his ultimate right now, because in the past, if there's an ultimate like what Bo has right now in the game, people can just jump off the ultimate and get rid of the situation with the jetpack. But right now, because the jetpack is not in place for many of the heroes anymore, they cannot get out of the situation immediately, and that kind of help these abilities shine in some situations that were not possible before. The second one, we were talking about getting more different play styles for different types of players. But there's the type of players who really like to flank. And that's where we also need to think of a new solutions to cater for extremely high speed play styles. And I think this is where we were talking about when there will be new heroes using the jetpack as part of their ability design. I think in the recent update, Maggie and Duckside, they are the 2 heroes that kind of represents the style where they can flank and move very quickly. And their play style kind of revolve around speed, mobility. Maggie obviously has a classic style, and Duckside he actually has a very interesting type of new movement now compared to before. So these are examples where we can explore a lot more different types of flank playstyles that will be in place moving forward in the future updates when we introduce more technical abilities to the heroes. And lastly, it also enables a lot more interesting hero combos. For example, with all of the new skills, you can see like Bow and Duckside. Bow can actually put the C3 bomb on Duckside, and Duckside can just roll towards the enemy. And that's a completely new dynamic of hero combos. And with Watchman and Maggie, for example, you can use Watchman's abilities to find the enemies, and then you can have Maggie to go in and combo and get the enemies killed. So these are all hero combos that require more team coordination than the past. Because when in the past when you can get out of any situations in any time, you don't really need a lot of coordination with your team members. But when there are limitations in place for each different heroes because of their unique playstyle, then you will have to think more about, okay, I have this limitation. What I have to do. What do I need to do to get, for example, get closer to my teammates? Should I or should I not go solo or lone wolf all the time? And these are all dynamics that happen when there's not a universally high mobility ability in place. And so these are kind of like the thoughts that we would like to share in this meeting. And I know you guys have a lot of questions. I'm not sure if I'll be able to answer all of the questions that you have. Some of the questions may be out of the understanding that I have right now, or out of what I am able to answer you. But I think it would be a great time for us to open the floor and get some questions.
I'll invite Warta. I see. Hi.
Hi.
I
I
think
have
he's
some.
Speaking. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I don't. My English is not so good, but I will try my best. So,
Yes, we can hear you now. Great.
all due respect, nobody cares about history of jetpacks. Nobody cares about advantage and disadvantage. Every month you make this meeting to look like you care about our opinion, but the fact you don't. You just remove the jetpack. All we want in the game is jetpack. The jetpack make Farlight84 very very good and very how we can say very unique. So we can't play Farlight without jetpacks. So all the player play Maggie, but if you play in squad, you can't play. If anyone is behind you, he'll kill you very fast and very easy if you don't have Maggie. So I'm not sure what you want. You want the better result for the game. So you have the statistic. After the remove of jetpack, the amount of player increase or decrease? I think it's decrease. So please, just give the jetpack more important thing. Make it better, not worse. So please, just hear us. Don't every meeting make it the meeting look like you hear us, but you don't. So please just bring back the jetpacks. All we want that, and that's it. Oh.
Thanks. Thanks for your comment. I think I need to provide some context as to why we have to make drastic changes to the game as of now. As you can see, actually from the landscape of video games on the market right now, all of the major titles are overhauling because there are important problems that each different games face. And under the current market situation, it is necessary for all of the games to make significant changes to their core gameplay in order for their game to, thrive. I think just from the shooter genre, hero shooter genre, Overwatch and Apex Legends, they just released their recent update notes for Season 20. They are making significant changes to the game. Overwatch, they are also making significant changes to the game. They were actually on the brink of survival in recent years. Even when we look outside of the shooter genre, for example, League of Legends, which is one of the biggest titles in the industry, they're also looking at making significant changes to the game this year and next. I think this provides a context as to how when it comes to gaining traction for a game for the long term, it is necessary to make changes when the time comes. So I don't know if it provides the right context for all of you to understand the importance of making changes, important changes, despite we do understand we have been working with the Jetpack and we have been developing the Jetpack ourselves for all those years. So we totally understand the significance of the Jetpack, and we all lived with it for so long. So but for when we talk about, I was talking about the advantages and disadvantages. The reason why I wanted to provide that context with you all is that we are trying to regain a framework where we can have more flexibility and diversity when designing the weapons and the hero skills. And weapons and hero skills, they are the core of hero shooter. What does hero shooter mean? It's heroes and shooting. Those are the core experiences of a hero shooter game that will succeed in the market in the long run. And right now we are kind of, with a Jetpack, we are kind of we put ourselves in a rabbit hole where we just can't design hero skills, interesting hero skills anymore, and we just can't do gunplay that makes sense as a shooter game. And I think that those are really important questions that, as a hero shooter game, we have to tackle from a game design perspective for the long run. So I think I hope that could provide some context for you to understand these changes that we are making to the game.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
So you want to make a game like you want, not like we want. We want the game like it's like the first time we play it with Jetpacks. When you change things up, you can't imagine the feelings for the player. So just bring back the Jetpacks and see the result. If it's bad, remove it again. If it's good, leave it. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what we are going to do in the future, I mean, this update is not, it doesn't represent the complete vision of what's coming. In the subsequent updates, we are going to introduce more heroes that have the Jetpack abilities, like Maggie, or is kind of a slightly different variation of Jetpack abilities or movement abilities. And those are heroes that you will find really interesting and exciting to use as a player who really like to flank around with high mobility. And I think the bigger picture here is that I think we do feel sorry that we were not able to provide more of these high mobility heroes that use Jetpack in this update, and that is definitely a miss in this update. I mean, if we, let's say, for example, we didn't change just 5 heroes in this update, but instead we have like 10 heroes or even more heroes that we managed to make changes to, and have a lot more high mobility heroes in this update. Then I mean, you can definitely see where the diversity of the heroes going. And if you have I do have more options of heroes to choose from, and more options of high mobility skills and abilities to play with, and a lot more different play styles to play with. So that is kind of like the bigger picture, but we did kind of miss the mark when it comes to not being able to deliver even more heroes like these in this update. But we will definitely keep up the work and put more of these put more work into delivering these kind of playstyles and heroes in the subsequent updates. So we do understand, we all love the mobility of the jetpack, and from a broader perspective, it's about really having those high mobility heroes, and at the same time, it's really important to have diversity and different variety of mobility as well. So yeah, I think we did miss the mark in this update, but I hope that in subsequent updates there will be more of these coming.
The next one, Lythes.
So I'll try to keep it short. I have 2 very specific questions. So
Yeah.
my first kind of point slash question is, to me, the removal of jetpacks felt very sudden, and I imagine the player base even more because they are not on these content. So it all felt like a lot of news all at once. We got hit by like a truck. And there was a lot of, I think that's also the reason why there was so much negativity around it. And I also think, and this is my question to you, would it be possible for the upcoming year to have some kind of roadmap for us? And I understand that the game is undergoing some heavy changes and developments, but it would be good to have some kind of ID as a player and content creator to see where the game is headed. Is that something that you as developers could share with content creators and community so we can actually maybe get hyped about things and look forward to changes?
Yes, I think I'm not completely sure the boundaries of how much I can talk about future plans, because some of the future plans are they're in the works, they're work in progress, and they will definitely change throughout the course of the development when we try to realize it and turn it into an actual playable thing in the game. I can share some of the ideas that we have at the moment, which please bear in mind that not all of them will become fruitful, and some of them may even change drastically during development. When we talk about not having jetpack as a universal ability, we can imagine a lot more situations where heroes can become even more mobile than they have jetpacks. The reason why is because when there's a universal jetpack ability, for heroes who have even higher mobility than the jetpack, if they also have that universal jetpack ability, it will be impossible to balance their high mobility flanking styles. So moving forward, there will be more heroes which have even higher mobility than the jetpack design, and that's kind of like that's one area where it opens up design possibilities for hero design. And at the same time, there will be heroes. Will definitely be heroes that are slower than other heroes. For example, let's say a Watchman right now. He's kind of like a hero that is a little bit slow, but because he has that thoughtful play style, it kind of it's a completely different play style. So there will be more variations when it comes to speed. There will be even higher mobility heroes, even higher speed, and there will be slower speed for some heroes. That's one aspect that in the design that we are doing right now. The second one is because the vertical flying ability with the jetpack is something that is really signature in the previous Farlight84 design. You can just jump onto a building on the rooftop of a building in no time, and that kind of you can see that in the older maps, a lot of the map design surrounds the height of the jetpack, and you can see from the height of the buildings. You can see how tall the buildings can go in the map. And right now in Thunder Realms, you can already see the height of the buildings are completely different. The reason is because of the jetpack losing its vertical flying ability. So in the future, what it means for us design-wise, the first one is the maps can go even more vertical when we design variations in height in the map. And secondly, there will be more interesting vehicle design as well. When we think about Fortnite, you can see that it's about building. It's about building structures that become interesting for it actually becomes kind of like a fort for the squad to play against the others. You can imagine something more interesting when it comes to vehicle design. Different vehicles can have different can provide different structural variations in real time to the map, and those are designs that are kind of opened up, ideas that are opened up when the jetpack loses its universality. So these are I tried my best to not reveal too much because the ideas change when it goes through development. But these are some of the ideas that were definitely opened up when we're kind of we finally jump out of the rabbit hole of a universal jetpack design. I hope that answers your question.
My next point last question is more about, and this is me talking as a core Farlight84 player, is that the vehicles and the cars are not in a good state right now. And I'm wondering if that is changing anytime soon. And I say this because I know that the War Falcon yesterday was disabled because basically it needs a balance because you cannot dodge the rockets without jetpacks. And there's a few other vehicles that right now, for example, the car that used to go invisible is not going invisible anymore. You can't shoot with it anymore. The lava chariot that was reworked in December now doesn't do damage anymore. And my experience as well is that if we actually play with cars, you're trying to go from point A to point B. It's a very open area. Cars are very easily destroyed, and when you are actually driving in a car in the game, you are so vulnerable. You take so much damage, and sometimes you just get killed in the trajectory. So, is there any plans of reworking vehicles to make them more stable to protect the players that are actually in it better? And are cars also still going to be able to?
That is exactly one of the areas that we are putting a lot of effort to this year. I can't directly answer your question because I think a lot of the points that you made were actually correct, and we are trying to find more interesting solutions to the problem. I think a very a very simple solution would be just to give every vehicle more health. But then when it comes to a battle royale, a hero shooter experience, we also don't want vehicles to be overpowered in a sense, and where everyone wants to drive a vehicle to go around. So it's also a balancing problem in the short term. We will definitely make balancing changes for the short-term experience, but we are also trying to tackle the problem from a game design perspective for the long run. And we are doing R&D in this area, and I'm not sure if any new things would come out this year, but hopefully we can talk about it more later this year, hopefully. And we definitely are working on the aspects of the vehicles that you mentioned.
Okay, thank you. Just a little follow-up question because it kind of has to do with it. And I know in like competitor games like Fortnite and Apex Legends, for example, both games have this, is that you could actually pick up items in order to put a zip line or even grapple on certain places and that kind of stuff. I think which could be very, very interesting in Farlight as well. Has that like ever been discussed?
Yeah, there are definitely items that we were trying to make, but they didn't get to the final game. There are items that yeah, I don't think I can get too much into
Okay.
the details. The problem with these items is that because the heroes and the weapons are not very stable in the game right now, we are still making a lot of changes to the heroes and weapons. So a lot of the items, if we put them in the game, they will be very difficult to balance. So what we hope to do is to finish all of the revamp and rework to the heroes and weapons as soon as possible, so that it provides us the framework, the correct framework for us to restart building upon it, and creating more fun vehicles and items and etc. I hope that answers your question. I think the problem with these new items in the game right now is definitely a balancing issue. If we have all the heroes fixed, for example, if all of the heroes have their 2 tactical abilities already, and when we have more heroes with higher mobility in the game, and we already have a set of heroes that are flankers, that are really high mobility, and a set of heroes that are really tanky, and a set of heroes that are really tactical, and they are kind of really into the strategy of helping the squad. Once we have that framework fixed in the game, then we will have we will open up even more possibilities for all of the things that surround the meta of the heroes.
I'll just send SAVxKing.
My first question will be, what plans do Farlight84 have for the future with this game? Like, what is the goal of Farlight84?
Thanks for the question. I think the plans for the future and the goal of Farlight84, it's a really important question for everyone right here in the Discord chat, or in our office every day. We think about it all the time. For Farlight84, plans for the future, the most important plan is to be able to get more players on board to play the game. That is a very important goal for this year, because the jetpack, it's really interesting, and it attracted a lot of players last year when the game globally launched. But we quickly see that when a lot of new players come into the game, they just got lost in the game because of some of the features in the game. So we do want more diversity in the game, and we wish that more diversity in play style will mean that more players can get on board and they can jumpstart on the experience of Farlight 84. The other aspect, apart from the jetpack, is the branding and the design of the game. When it comes to appealing to a wider audience, the the style of the game, the brand of the game is really important. And in the past, we didn't have a very unique recognizable touch to the game. But since this update, we will move towards a way more recognizable style for the game. And I personally really love the current art style and the music in the game as well. These are areas that we will continue to work hard on to really bring personality and style to Farlight 84. That's a really important point. You may overlook that sometimes, but it's a very important point because when we, for example, compare Valorant with CS:GO, let's say for example, their play style is just very similar. It's a hero shooter version of Counter Strike. But the style plays it's a Riot game. The style plays a very important role when it comes to promoting the game and marketing the game as a unique title in the market. So the style is something that we really are going to work hard on as well. Apart from fixing the core gameplay for this year.
Are there any plans to add a sprint button to the game and map rotation?
The spring button, I think, yeah, right now the implementation on mobile is that you just slide forward and you kind of move faster. And that's kind of like the mechanic on mobile right now. I'm not sure. I don't think there's a clear plan to change that design UI. It's kind of like a UI element. I don't think there's a plan to change that. But I'll jot it down and see if it's possible to implement something similar. When it comes to map rotation, it is something that the community, part of the community has been talking for quite a while. When we think about, yeah, you are completely right. Especially when there's one more new map. There are a few maps in the game right now. So I think we should definitely reduce. First of all, I think we should definitely reduce the number of maps on the game, especially when it comes to some of the maps that are not a lot of people play on. As you mentioned, some of the players they may kind of leverage this the situation and try to play on maps that not a lot of people play. But that's a rather minor problem when we look at the more important question of matchmaking queues. We do want more people to be in fewer matchmaking queues, so that the matchmaking time and matchmaking quality will be improved. I think that's the overarching goal when it comes to map, whether it be map rotation or reducing the number of maps or reducing the number of game modes or matchmaking modes. This is the overarching goal for us. For map rotation, there are concerns. Well, it's two sides of a coin. Some of the community members would be concerned about if we do map rotations, like force map rotation onto the entire player base. For example, some of the players they do play competitively on specific maps, and it's really important for them to keep playing on the same map over a long period of time. So we will have to be really cautious when implementing map rotation, especially if it's kind of applied towards the entire player base on the server. But if it's not applied to the entire player base, that will be a different matchmaking queue yet again. So we will have to think really carefully about the design aspects of maps and game modes.
So all are interested on the last step before the jetpack is changed to Jetslide. So I need to ask him why the intention it will become on that actually in Jetslide.
You mean when is it coming to the game?
Yeah, yes. Also, what the benefits for that?
Mm, mm, okay. Well, let's talk about when first. We are trying our very best to deliver it in the next update. I'm not sure if it's definitely going to arrive in the next update, but we are striving for that goal right now. And I hope that that would answer the questions from the community, and there's a commitment from us to improve mobility. I think that's the number one issue that we have to address from the community's feedback. As I mentioned, we're not bringing back Jetpack in its original form, but Jetslide will become an important integral part of the universal ability. So we're targeting to bring it in the next update, but when it actually arrives, we will do a What's the Next video again and tell you the exact timing of the update. And regarding the update, the update cycle will also be changed. So in the past, the update cycle used to be there's a larger update every 3 months, and there is kind of like a smaller patch or a smaller update every month. So that was the schedule in the past. And in the future, the larger update will be squeezed from 3 months into 6 weeks. And then there will not be smaller updates every month anymore. The reason why is exactly because we want to commit into bringing more features to the game, like mobility, like heroes and skills to the game more frequently. So we want to squeeze that 3 months period to 6 weeks. So after the previous update, which was the 25th of January, the next update can be expected around March, the first week or the second week of March. That will be a 6-week schedule that we're looking at for larger updates coming periodically. I hope that answers your question. I'm not sure if that update will definitely bring you guys Jetslide, but that is the target that we are trying right now.
And my point is, I think you recognizing the reviews and what are the hates, how much it will become to the Jetslide, it will be implementing onto the Farlight. I think you have the growth of your downloads and everything, how it will become from Indian side and how it will become from globally also. I can talk in globally. The problem is if you're switching that, how much it will be affecting and how much it will be coming to a negative part on that actually. That's I'm hitting on that area actually.
So internally, when we talk about this update or what we're changing moving forward, we think of it as kind of like doing a big surgery. It's a period where we're trying to fix things that we really lived with us for
Cool.
many years, and then now we're doing kind of like a really big surgery, trying to fix it and make the body works for in a more healthy way for a longer period of time. That is how we the analogy that we use internally when we talk about it. It's a painful process, and it definitely we do see a lot of hateful comments in the community. Our producer, all of the game designers, and not just game designers but also art designers and music producers. They all look at the comments on YouTube, on Facebook. They all get those negativity from the player base, and the reason why we still needed to take this step is because it really is a surgery for us.
Got it.
When as a game designer, I'm not a game designer, but there are many game designers in the team. When they think about ideas they want to put into the skill design of the heroes, and then when they play test those designs, when you know the universal design of the jetpack always make their design you know useless in many situations. They just couldn't they just kind of couldn't do it anymore. I think that's it's behind, it's something that's behind the scene that everyone doesn't know. But it's something that it's really real in the office every single day. So you know, it's a really painful process for the player
totally.
base, for everyone here in the chat, and for us as well. But yeah, I really do hope that the surgery will give us a completely new vibe in the future and a completely new framework for us to work upon and build new things upon.
Okay, guys, unfortunately, I had to cut the video short here. I mean, this video is very, very long. This might be the longest video I've ever made. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And as always, if you'd like to discuss any of the topics, please make sure to leave a comment down below. I'm sure the developers are also watching. Take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.